A woman, Marta Sanchez, adopted a child, hoping to finally become a mother. On the day they met, Marta was nervous but excited, transforming her usually austere apartment into a welcoming haven for 6-year-old Sophia. Sophia was small and shy, hiding her face behind a curtain of long black hair. She clung to a worn backpack, her dark eyes wary as she surveyed her new home. Marta, with years of experience as a child psychologist, understood Sophia's apprehension. She showed her the room she had prepared, a lavender-hued haven with a canopy bed, shelves brimming with toys and books, and a small desk by the window. Sophia, captivated, touched the star and moon quilt, her voice a whisper as she asked, "It's for me?" Marta's heart melted. "Yes, darling. All this is for you." They sat in the living room, Sophia clutching a book about a girl and her cat, while Marta and Carmen, the social worker, finalized the adoption details. Carmen reminded Marta of Sophia's past, the neglect that demanded patience and unconditional love. Marta, though prepared for the challenge, realized being a mother was different from being a psychologist. She was determined to separate the two roles, to prioritize Sophia's well-being above all else. Sophia, though mostly silent, requested pasta, and Marta felt a surge of hope at this small connection. As the afternoon wore on, Sophia's fatigue grew evident. Marta tucked her into her new bed, surprised and touched when Sophia reached out to be carried. She read Sophia the chosen story, her voice a calming presence. Before the tale ended, Sophia was fast asleep. Carmen, seeing this, reassured Marta it was a good sign. "It means she feels safe here." As they talked, a noise from Sophia's room made Marta jump to her feet, her maternal instincts kicking in. Entering the room, Marta found Sophia sitting up in bed, her eyes wide with confusion. "It's okay, darling," Marta soothed, approaching the bed. "You're in your new home, remember?" Sophia, on the verge of tears, surprised Marta by reaching out for a hug. Marta held her close, whispering, "I'm here, you're safe." After a while, Sophia's eyes, though still apprehensive, held a glimmer of hope. "Are you hungry?" Marta asked. "We can have a snack if you like." For the first time, a smile touched Sophia's lips. Hand in hand, they went to the kitchen, where Marta offered Sophia a choice of snacks. Sophia, her eyes falling on a bowl of fruit, pointed shyly at a red apple. "An apple? Excellent choice," beamed Marta. As Marta sliced the apple, she noticed Sophia watching her every move. "Would you like to help me?" she asked, offering Sophia a plastic spoon to transfer the apple pieces onto a plate. To Marta's delight, Sophia took the spoon and carefully carried out the task, her tongue peeking out in concentration. "You're doing great," praised Marta. "You're an excellent kitchen helper." A faint blush colored Sophia's cheeks, and Marta thought she saw the hint of a smile. It was a small gesture, but it meant the world to her. Later, as Carmen prepared to leave, Sophia, in a barely audible whisper, asked, "Forever?" Marta's heart turned over. In that one word, she heard all of Sophia's fear and longing. "Yes, darling," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "If you want, it will be forever." Sophia's eyes welled up, but they were not tears of sadness. They shimmered with a newfound hope. I want to stay," she murmured. Though tempted to hug Sophia tightly, Marta instead offered her hand. After a moment's hesitation, Sophia placed her small hand in Marta's. With Carmen gone, a new chapter began. Sophia, wanting to continue the story they'd started before her nap, snuggled into bed, making space for Marta to sit beside her. As the sun dipped low, bathing the room in a warm glow, Marta realized they'd spent hours reading and talking. Sophia, more animated now, even shared stories about her favorite characters. That night, after Sophia drifted off to sleep, whispering, "Good night, Mama," Marta retreated to her own room, exhausted but her heart overflowing. She knew their journey wouldn't be easy, but every small step, every shy smile from Sophia made it all worthwhile. In the silence of the night, two solitary souls found solace in each other, a new family born of uncertainty, possibility, and love. "No matter what happens at school, I'll always be here for you. You understand?" Sophia buried her face in Marta's shoulder. "Do you promise?" Marta replied firmly, "I promise, now and always." The first day of school was a mix of nerves and excitement. Marta walked Sophia to her classroom door, where the teacher, Miss Rodriguez, welcomed them with a warm smile. "You must be Sophia," she said, bending down to her level. "We're so happy to have you." Sophia looked to Marta for reassurance. With a gentle squeeze on her shoulder, Marta encouraged her to go ahead. "I'll be here to pick you up when school's over," she reminded Sophia, watching her disappear into the classroom. Leaving was harder than Marta anticipated. She lingered by the closed door, fighting the urge to go in and take Sophia back home. The next few hours were torture. Marta couldn't concentrate on her work, her mind constantly wondering how Sophia was doing, if she'd made friends, if she felt scared or alone. Finally, it was time to pick Sophia up. Marta was at the school gate 15 minutes early, watching children spill out in giggling, chattering groups. And then she saw Sophia, her butterfly backpack in tow, an unreadable expression on her face. "Sophia!" Marta called, waving. The little girl ran to her, launching herself into Marta's arms with a force that almost knocked her off balance. "How was your day, sweetheart?" Marta asked as they walked home. Sophia just shrugged. "It was okay," she mumbled. Marta knew there was more to it than that, but decided not to push. Instead, she suggested a stop at the local ice cream parlor to celebrate the first day of school. The smile that lit up Sophia's face at the idea was all the reward Marta needed. It was over strawberry ice cream that Sophia finally opened up about her day. She spoke about her teacher, the new friends she'd made, and how much she loved art class. But she also shared her fears, that some kids had laughed when she couldn't answer a question, that she felt lost during math. Marta listened patiently, offering words of encouragement and comfort when needed. "Everyone has tough days," she said. "The important thing is that you tried, and tomorrow is a new day." As the weeks passed, Sophia seemed to be adjusting well. Her grades were steadily improving, and she spoke excitedly about her friends and school activities. Marta felt proud of her daughter's progress and grateful for the relationship they were building. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. Sometimes Marta noticed things about Sophia that worried her. Sudden silences, distant looks, and occasional bursts of anger that seemed to come out of nowhere. One evening while making dinner together, Sophia dropped a plate. It shattered on the kitchen floor, and the little girl's reaction was instant and alarming. She crumpled to the floor, trembling and murmuring apologies through sobs. I'm sorry, please don't hurt me," she repeated over and over. Marta was paralyzed for a moment, her heart breaking at the sight of Sophia so terrified. Moving slowly and deliberately, she approached the child. "Sophia, honey, it's okay. It was an accident. Nobody's going to hurt you. I promise," she said, her voice soft yet firm. It took several minutes to calm Sophia down. When the trembling finally subsided, Marta held her tight, feeling tears soak through her shirt. "Do you want to talk about what happened?" she asked when Sophia was calmer. Sophia shook her head, burying her face deeper into Marta's embrace. "It's okay. You don't have to if you don't want to," Marta soothed. "But I want you to know that you can always talk to me about anything. Nothing you say will ever make me love you less." That night, after putting Sophia to bed, Marta sat in the kitchen, her mind racing. Sophia's reaction was a painful reminder of the child's traumatic past. Marta knew healing would take time, but she felt powerless in the face of her daughter's pain. She decided to call Carmen, the social worker, for advice. "What you're describing is quite common in children who've experienced abuse or neglect," Carmen explained after listening to Marta. "The fear of physical punishment can be deeply ingrained. The important thing is to continue providing a safe and loving environment for Sophia. Consistency and patience will be your greatest allies." Carmen also suggested therapy. Sometimes an outside professional can help in ways that we, as parents, can't. Marta appreciated the advice, but the idea of sending Sophia to therapy made her feel like she was failing somehow. Shouldn't she be able to help her daughter herself, being a child psychologist? The following days were tense. Sophia seemed more withdrawn, and Marta found herself walking on eggshells, afraid to trigger another outburst. It was during this time that Marta began to notice other worrying behaviors. One night she woke to the sound of voices coming from Sophia's room. Creeping closer, she heard Sophia whispering, as if having a conversation. "No, I don't want to do that. She's good to me. No, I won't." Marta's heart pounded as she listened. Who was Sophia talking to? Was it normal for a child her age to have such intense imaginary friends? She gently pushed the door open. Sophia was sitting up in bed, staring intently at the blank wall opposite her. The little girl jumped when she saw Marta. "Who were you talking to, honey?" Marta asked, trying to sound casual. Sophia looked down, fiddling with the sheets. "No one," she mumbled. Marta sat on the edge of the bed, gently stroking Sophia's hair. "You know you can tell me anything, right? No matter what it is. I'll listen and I'll believe you." For a moment it seemed like Sophia was going to say something. She opened her mouth, her eyes meeting Marta's, but then she stopped, as if held back by an invisible force. "I'm sleepy," she said instead. Marta felt a chill as she tucked Sophia back in and turned towards the wall. "Okay, honey, get some rest. I'm here if you need me." As she closed the door, Marta couldn't shake the feeling that something was slipping away from her, some crucial piece of the puzzle that was Sophia. The following days brought more incidents that heightened Marta's concern. She found disturbing drawings hidden in Sophia's notebook, dark figures with red eyes, houses on fire, and what looked like people screaming. When she asked Sophia about them, the girl just shrugged and said they were just drawings. Then at school, Miss Rodriguez called Marta to discuss Sophia's behavior. Apparently, the girl had been having episodes where she seemed to completely disconnect from her surroundings, staring blankly and not responding when spoken to. There were also times when Sophia became unusually aggressive with other children, particularly during recess. "It's like she's two different children," the teacher explained. "One minute she's sweet and engaged, and the next it's like something dark takes over her." Miss Rodriguez's words echoed in Marta's mind for days. Was Sophia struggling with some kind of dissociative disorder? Or were these simply the after effects of her past trauma, manifesting in unpredictable ways? One night, as Marta was catching up on emails in the living room, she heard a noise from the kitchen. At first, she thought Sophia had gotten up for a glass of water, but when she went to check, the scene that greeted her stopped her cold. Sophia was standing at the sink, a kitchen knife clutched in her hand. Her eyes were open but glazed over, as if in a trance. She was muttering something under her breath, words Marta couldn't quite make out. "Sophia?" Marta called softly, not wanting to startle the child. There was no response. Sophia continued muttering, the knife trembling slightly in her grip. Heart pounding, Marta slowly approached her. "Sophia, honey, it's me. Mama, can you hear me?" When she was close enough, Marta was able to make out some of the words Sophia was repeating. "I have to protect her. I have to keep her safe. I won't let them hurt her." Carefully, Marta placed her hand over Sophia's, gently prying the knife away. The moment the utensil left her grasp, Sophia seemed to snap out of her trance. She looked around in confusion, then up at Marta. "Mama, what am I doing here?" she asked, her voice shaky. Marta set the knife on the counter and pulled Sophia into a tight hug. "It's okay, my love. It's okay. Let's get you back to bed." As she tucked Sophia in, the little girl seemed to have no recollection of what had transpired in the kitchen. She fell asleep quickly, clutching her favorite stuffed animal. Marta, however, couldn't sleep a wink. She lay awake for hours, mentally replaying every incident, every odd behavior she'd witnessed in Sophia. Worry twisted in her gut, mingling with fear and a heavy dose of guilt. Was she failing as a mother? Had she missed some crucial sign? The next morning, Marta made a decision. She called Carmen and scheduled a therapy session for Sophia as soon as possible. She also decided it was time to delve deeper into her adopted daughter's past. "Good morning, sweetheart," Marta greeted Sophia as the little girl wandered into the kitchen, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. "How did you sleep?" Sophia shrugged, settling down at the table. "Okay, I guess. I had a weird dream, but I don't remember it very well." Marta set a plate of pancakes in front of Sophia, carefully watching her reaction. The girl began to eat in silence, showing no signs of recalling the previous night's incident. "Sophia," Marta began, taking a seat opposite her, "I've been thinking, would you like to talk to someone about how you've been feeling?" "Someone who isn't me?" Sophia looked up from her plate, her eyes filled with confusion and a flicker of fear. "Did I do something wrong?" No, sweetheart," Marta rushed to clarify. "You haven't done anything wrong. It's just that sometimes it's good to talk to someone who can help us understand our feelings. Someone who isn't mommy or daddy." Sophia played with her fork, pushing a piece of pancake around her plate. Is it because I talk to myself sometimes? Marta felt her heart skip a beat. Do you want to tell me about that? Who do you talk to? For a moment, it seemed as though Sophia might open up. She looked at Marta with a mixture of fear and longing, as if she desperately wanted to share a secret, but wasn't sure how. But then, just as quickly as it appeared, the expression vanished, replaced by a mask of indifference. No one, Sophia mumbled. I'm just playing. Marta knew there was more to the story, but she decided not to push. It's okay, honey. You don't have to talk about it if you don't want to, but I want you to know I'm always here for you. The rest of breakfast passed in an uneasy silence. When it was time to take Sophia to school, Marta noticed the little girl seemed more anxious than usual. Are you okay, Sophia? She asked as they walked. Sophia nodded, but her grip on Marta's hand tightened. Mama, promise you'll come back for me? Of course, sweetheart. I always come back for you. Remember? Yeah, but promise you won't let anyone else take me. The question made Marta stop short. She crouched down to Sophia's level, taking her small hands in hers. Sophia, look at me. No one is going to take you. You're my daughter, and I will always be here to protect you. Do you understand? Sophia nodded, but Marta could see the fear lingering in her eyes. What was going through her daughter's mind? What hidden terrors plagued her? After dropping Sophia off at school, Marta drove straight to the social services office. She needed to speak with Carmen, needed to find out more about Sophia's past. Carmen greeted her with a worried look. Marta, what is it? You sounded distressed on the phone. Marta told her everything. Sophia's episodes of talking to herself, the disturbing drawings, the incident with the knife. With each detail, Carmen's expression grew more serious. Marta, Carmen said after a long silence, there's something you need to know about Sophia's past, something that's not in the official records. Marta's heart raced. What is it? Carmen pulled a thick file from her desk. This is off the record, you understand. We can't use it in any legal proceedings, but I believe you need to know this to help Sophia. Marta braced herself. Before entering the adoption system, Sophia lived with her aunt for a short time, Carmen began. The aunt was the one who initially reported the abuse in Sophia's original home. But what we didn't know at the time was that the situation with the aunt wasn't much better. Carmen paused as if choosing her words carefully. There were allegations that the aunt was involved in some kind of cult. Nothing we could legally prove, but neighbors reported strange activities, late-night gatherings, rituals. Marta felt the world tilt on its axis. What are you saying, Carmen? I'm saying it's possible Sophia was exposed to occult practices during her time with her aunt. Reports suggested the child may have been used in some of these rituals. The words hit Marta like a punch to the stomach. Suddenly, so many of Sophia's behaviors took on a new, terrifying meaning. Why wasn't I told this before? Marta asked, her voice trembling with anger and fear. Carmen sighed. As I said, it's off the record. We had no concrete evidence, just rumors and suspicions. We didn't want to prejudice any potential families against Sophia based on unverified information. Marta stood, pacing the office, her mind racing as she tried to process this new information and what it meant for Sophia, for her, for their future together. What do I do now? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. What you've been doing, Marta. Love Sophia, protect her, be patient with her, but also seek professional help. This situation, it's bigger than anything you can handle on your own, even with your experience as a child psychologist. Marta felt the weight of responsibility settle heavily on her shoulders. I need to know more. I need to understand what we're dealing with. Carmen handed her the file. This is everything we have. Remember, this is confidential. Use it to help Sophia, but be discreet. Marta took the file, feeling as if she were holding a bomb about to explode. Thank you, Carmen. I need some time to process all of this. She walked out of the office feeling dazed, the file heavy in her bag, weighing her down like lead. As she walked, her mind swirled with unanswered questions and newfound fears. How was she supposed to help Sophia overcome a trauma so deep and dark? Was she even equipped to face the ramifications of what Sophia may have experienced? And most importantly, how could she protect her daughter from the demons of the past that seemed to be chasing her? Marta stopped at a nearby park, sinking down onto a bench. Hands shaking, she opened the file and began to read. Each page revealed horrors she never could have imagined. Neighbors' reports of nighttime screams, descriptions of strange symbols painted on the walls of the aunt's house, testimonies from other children who spoke of terrifying games played in the basement. Tears streamed down Marta's cheeks as she read, her heart breaking for little Sophia, for all she had endured, for the innocence that had been stolen from her. But even amidst the horror and sadness, Marta felt something else rising within her, a fierce determination. No matter what lay in Sophia's past, no matter how dark the secret she held, Marta would be the light that guided her daughter toward a brighter future. She closed the file and glanced at her watch. It would be time to pick Sophia up from school soon. Marta stood, wiping her tears and straightening her shoulders. She had much to process, much to plan. But for now, the most important thing was being there for her daughter, being the safe harbor Sophia so desperately needed. As she walked toward the school, Marta began to formulate a plan. She would find the best therapist specializing in childhood trauma and the occult. She would research the effects of ritual abuse on children. Above all, she would redouble her efforts to create an environment of love, safety, and trust for Sophia. The road ahead would be difficult, filled with challenges Marta could barely fathom. But as she approached the school and saw Sophia waiting by the entrance, her small face lighting up at the sight of her mother, Marta knew she would do whatever it took, face any darkness, to save her daughter. "Mama!" Sophia cried, rushing towards her, arms outstretched. Marta hugged her tight, inhaling the scent of kitty shampoo and crayons. "Hi, my love. How was your day?" As Sophia chattered about her day at school, Marta listened intently, searching for any sign of the inner demons she now knew lurked within her daughter. But in that moment, seeing the genuine smile on Sophia's face, Marta allowed herself to feel a flicker of hope. Yes, the road ahead would be long and arduous. Yes, there would be dark days ahead, but there would also be moments like this, moments of joy, of connection, of pure, unconditional love. And Marta was determined that those moments would eventually outweigh the darkness. She took Sophia's hand, and together they walked home, towards the unknown, towards the challenges that lay ahead, but also towards the promise of a future that, with love, patience, and unwavering determination, could be bright. "I love you, Sophia," Marta said, giving her daughter's hand a gentle squeeze. Sophia looked up at her, eyes shining with a mixture of love and something else. Something Marta now recognized as a wisdom far too profound for one so young. "I love you too, Mama, more than you can possibly imagine." And with those words, Marta knew that no matter what came their way, they would face every challenge, every darkness, every fear, together. Because the love they shared was stronger than any shadow of the past. The days following Carmen's revelation were a whirlwind of emotions and action for Marta. Every free moment was spent researching, searching for answers and solutions to help Sophia. Nights stretched long, filled with reading about childhood trauma, ritual abuse, and therapeutic techniques. Meanwhile, Marta redoubled her efforts to create an atmosphere of normalcy and security for Sophia. Days were filled with comforting routines. Breakfast together, walks in the park after school, bedtime stories. But beneath the surface of this carefully constructed calm, Marta was constantly on edge, observing Sophia's every reaction, every word, every gesture, searching for signs of the inner turmoil she knew raged within. A week after her conversation with Carmen, Marta took Sophia for her first session with Dr. Elena Vasquez, a therapist specializing in childhood trauma and cases of ritual abuse. "Hello, Sophia," Dr. Vasquez greeted, her voice warm and reassuring. "Would you like to go and play for a little while I talk with your mom?" Sophia looked to Marta for reassurance. With a gentle nod from her mother, she shyly entered the playroom. "Marta," Dr. Vasquez said once they were alone, "before we begin, I need you to understand something. The healing process in cases like Sophia's, it's long and it's often painful. There will be setbacks, moments where it seems like we're not making progress. Patience is crucial." Marta felt a lump forming in her throat. "I understand. I will do whatever it takes to help Sophia. Good, the therapist continued. Now tell me more about the behaviors you've been noticing. Marta told her everything. The episodes of Sophia talking to herself, the disturbing drawings, the incident with the knife. Dr. Vasquez listened intently, making occasional notes. Based on what you've told me, and the information in the file, it appears Sophia may be struggling with a dissociative disorder, Dr. Vasquez explained. It's a common response in children who've experienced severe, repeated trauma. The mind creates different parts, or personalities, as a coping mechanism. Marta's heart sank. She had suspected something like this, but hearing it confirmed by a professional made it all the more real, all the more frightening. What can we do? She asked, her voice barely a whisper. We'll work on several fronts, Dr. Vasquez replied. Individual therapy for Sophia, family sessions for both of you, and I'll provide you with tools for managing situations at home. The most important thing is creating an environment of safety and trust, where Sophia can begin to process her trauma. The following weeks were an emotional roller coaster. There were days when Sophia seemed to be making progress, laughing and playing like any child her age. But there were also dark days when the dissociative episodes were more frequent and intense. One night near midnight, Marta woke to the sound of footsteps in the hallway. Emerging from her room, she saw Sophia walking towards the living room, her eyes open but glazed over. Sophia, Marta called softly. There was no response. Sophia continued walking, muttering words Marta couldn't understand. Heart pounding, Marta followed her daughter into the living room. Sophia stopped in front of the blank wall, raised her hands as if touching something invisible, and began to speak in a voice that didn't sound like her own. The circle is complete. The offering must be made. Blood for blood, flesh for flesh. A chill shot down Marta's spine. She remembered Dr. Vasquez's instructions for handling these situations. Slowly, she approached Sophia. Sophia, honey, you're safe. You're home with me, with Mama. There's nothing to be afraid of here. For a moment, there was no reaction. Then slowly, Sophia turned to face Marta. Her normally warm brown eyes seemed darker, almost black. She's not here, Sophia said, but the voice wasn't hers. It was deeper, rougher. Sophia is hidden. We protect her. Marta felt her heart skip a beat. She was face to face with one of Sophia's parts, one of the personalities her mind had created to shield itself. I understand, Marta said, struggling to remain calm. Thank you for protecting Sophia. Can you tell me your name? The figure before her seemed to consider the question. We are the Guardians. We keep the darkness away. Guardians, Marta repeated softly. I'm grateful you're looking after Sophia, but she's safe here. I protect her too. Sophia's eyes, or the Guardian's eyes, narrowed, studying Marta. How do we know we can trust you? Because I love Sophia more than anything in this world, Marta replied, tears streaming down her cheeks. And I will do whatever it takes to keep her safe. There was a long moment of silence. Then slowly, the expression on Sophia's face began to shift. Her eyes blinked, and suddenly it was Sophia who looked at Marta, her expression bewildered. Mama? What are we doing here? Marta pulled Sophia into a hug, tears flowing freely now. Nothing, my love. We were just having a little nighttime chat. Come on, I'll tuck you back in. As she tucked Sophia in, Marta knew she had crossed a threshold. She had seen firsthand the depth of Sophia's trauma and the immensity of the challenge they faced. But she had also seen a glimmer of hope. The Guardians, unsettling as they were there to protect Sophia. And if Marta could earn their trust, maybe, just maybe, they could work together to heal her daughter. The days that followed were tense. Marta watched Sophia constantly, looking for signs of the Guardians or any other part that might emerge. She shared the experience with Dr. Vasquez, who guided her on how to handle future interactions. This is a significant development, the therapist explained. Now that the Guardians have revealed themselves, we can work on establishing communication and trust with them. They're a crucial part of Sophia's system. Marta felt overwhelmed but determined. What should I do? Keep a journal of any interactions. Talk to them with respect, but set clear boundaries. And most importantly, constantly reassure them that Sophia is safe now. Armed with this new information and strategy, Marta faced the following days with renewed resolve. but the universe had other plans. One afternoon, as Marta was preparing dinner, Sophia walked into the kitchen, her face wearing a serious expression that was unsettling on a child so young. "Mama," she said in a voice Marta recognized as the guardian's, "we need to talk." Marta took a deep breath, bracing herself. "Of course. What is it?" "She's coming. The one who hurt Sophia. She's close." The world seemed to stop for a moment. Marta felt the ground drop out from beneath her feet. Who are you talking about?" "The woman from the shadows, the one who did the rituals. Sophia saw her today, near the school." Marta struggled to keep her composure. Could it be? Sophia's aunt, the woman who had subjected her to unimaginable horrors, was in town? "Are you sure?" Marta asked, her mind racing. The guardians nodded solemnly. "We never forget a face, especially not hers." Marta made a decision in that instant. She turned off the stove and grabbed her phone. "We're going to pack some things. We're leaving for a few days." As Sophia, or the guardians, watched, Marta called Carmen. "I need your help," she said as soon as Carmen answered. "Sophia's aunt may be in town. We need a safe place to stay, and I want the police to be aware." Carmen acted quickly, providing the address of a safe house and promising to contact the authorities. Within an hour, Marta and Sophia were in the car, heading toward an unknown destination. The safe house turned out to be a small cabin on the outskirts of the city. It was rustic but cozy, surrounded by trees that offered a sense of isolation and protection. "We'll be safe here," Marta assured Sophia as they unpacked. "The police are looking for that woman, and they won't let her near you." Sophia nodded, but Marta noticed her eyes constantly scanning the windows, as if expecting to see a shadowy figure emerge from the trees at any moment. The days at the cabin were tense. Marta tried to maintain a semblance of normalcy for Sophia, with study sessions, games, and reading, but the invisible threat of the aunt hung over them like a dark cloud. One night, as Marta was reading Sophia a bedtime story, the little girl suddenly stiffened. "They're here," she whispered, her eyes wide. Marta felt her heart quicken. "Who, honey? The other children?" "The ones who couldn't escape. They're outside watching." Marta glanced toward the window, but all she saw was the darkness of the woods. "Sophia, there's no one there. We're safe here." But Sophia shook her head, tears welling up in her eyes. "They want me to come back. They say it's my turn again." In that moment, Marta realized she wasn't just dealing with Sophia's fear of the aunt. The ghosts of Sophia's past, the traumatic memories of other children who had suffered alongside her, were manifesting as well. "Listen to me, Sophia," Marta said, taking her daughter's face in her hands. "Those children, if they're there, they don't mean you any harm. They're scared and lost, like you were once. But you're safe now. You're with me." Sophia looked at her, eyes filled with tears and terror. "But what if she comes back? What if she finds me?" "She won't," Marta promised. "And if she tries, she'll have to go through me first. Nothing and no one will ever take you away from me again. Sophia, you are my daughter, and I will protect you with my life if I have to." That night, Marta slept in bed with Sophia, holding her close. Every creak of the cabin, every whisper of wind through the trees made her tense, ready to face whatever threat might emerge. On their third day at the cabin, Carmen called with news. The police had located Sophia's aunt. She had been spotted lurking near the school in Marta's house, but they hadn't been able to apprehend her. "They're closing in," Carmen assured her. "It's just a matter of time before they catch her." Marta was grateful for the update, but couldn't shake the feeling that danger was closer than they realized. That night, as Sophia slept, Marta decided to make one last check of the cabin before going to bed. As she walked through the living room, a flicker of movement outside the window caught her eye. At first, she thought it was just the wind rustling the tree branches, but then she saw it, a dark figure moving through the shadows, approaching the cabin. Marta's heart stuttered, then maternal instinct took over. She raced to Sophia's room, her mind working frantically. "Sophia, wake up!" she whispered urgently, shaking the little girl gently. "We need to move now." Sophia woke, confused and frightened. "Mama, what's wrong?" "Shh, honey. We're going to play a game, okay? We're going to hide like we're playing hide and seek. But you have to be very, very quiet." Marta guided Sophia out of bed, her eyes constantly darting between the child and the window. Every shadow seemed menacing, every sound a potential threat. "Let's go to the attic," Marta whispered, remembering seeing a small hatch in the hallway ceiling. With Sophia in her arms, Marta moved silently through the cabin. She reached the hatch and, with effort, pulled it open. A folding ladder unfolded. "Climb up, honey," she urged Sophia. "Quick and quiet. Remember the game." Sophia nodded, her eyes wide and fearful in the dim light, and nimbly ascended the ladder, which disappeared into the darkness of the attic. Marta followed, pulling the hatch shut behind them. The attic was small and dusty, filled with old boxes and sheet-covered furniture. Marta guided Sophia to a dark corner behind an old wardrobe. "Stay here," she whispered, hugging Sophia close. "No matter what happens, don't make a sound. Understood?" Sophia nodded, trembling. Marta held her tight, trying to quiet her own racing heartbeat. Downstairs, a door creaked open. Marta held her breath, listening intently. Slow, deliberate footsteps echoed from below. Someone was inside the cabin. Sophia stiffened in Marta's arms, her small hands clutching her mother's shirt. Marta could feel the frantic beating of her daughter's heart. The footsteps moved through the cabin, approaching the hallway where the attic hatch was located. Marta squeezed her eyes shut, praying silently that whoever it was wouldn't look up. Suddenly, a woman's voice broke the silence. "I know you're here, Sophia," the voice called out, soft yet menacing. "It's time to come home, darling. We have work to do." Sophia began to tremble uncontrollably. Marta hugged her tighter, whispering in her ear, "I'm here. I won't let her take you." The footsteps stopped directly beneath the hatch. There was a tense moment of silence, then the sound of the hatch slowly creaking open. Marta's heart pounded so loudly she was afraid it might be heard. She looked around desperately for something, anything she could use as a weapon. A hand appeared at the edge of the opening, followed by another. Marta watched in horror as a figure began to emerge into the attic. In that moment, something inside Marta snapped. All the rage, fear, and protective instinct she had been holding back exploded in a surge of pure adrenaline. Without a second thought, she lunged at the climbing figure. Taken by surprise, the woman lost her balance and fell backward, pulling Marta with her. They tumbled down the ladder, landing with a thud on the hallway floor. Dazed but determined, Marta scrambled to her feet, placing herself between the intruder and the attic ladder. She could now see the woman clearly. She was middle-aged, with dark, unkempt hair and eyes that gleamed with a fanatic light. "Get away from my daughter," Marta shouted, her voice raw with fury. The woman slowly got to her feet, a twisted smile on her face. "Your daughter, Sophia, belongs to me. She is the chosen one, the one who will complete the ritual." "You're insane," Marta spat. "Sophia is a child, not an object for your twisted rituals. I won't let you hurt her anymore." The woman took a step closer, her hand sliding into her pocket. "You don't understand. This is bigger than you, bigger than me, bigger than Sophia. The ancient ones must be appeased, and only the blood of the chosen one can do it." Marta saw the glint of a knife in the woman's hand. Fear threatened to paralyze her, but the thought of Sophia trembling in the attic gave her strength. "Don't come any closer," Marta warned, taking a defensive stance. The woman lunged, the knife aimed at Marta's chest. Years of self-defense classes kicked in. Marta dodged the attack, grabbing the woman's wrist and twisting sharply. The knife clattered to the floor. The woman screamed in rage and pain, throwing herself at Marta with all her force. They crashed to the floor, rolling and struggling. Marta felt a sharp pain in her jaw, the metallic taste of blood in her mouth, but the pain only fueled her determination. With a furious cry, she managed to pin the woman to the floor. "It's over," Marta shouted. "Sophia is safe from you. You will never hurt her again." At that moment, the sound of approaching sirens filled the air. The woman hearing them seemed to deflate beneath Marta, all fight draining from her. "You don't understand," she murmured, her eyes losing their fanatic gleam. "Without the sacrifice, we'll all be doomed." Marta kept her pinned until the police burst into the cabin. Within minutes, the woman was handcuffed and led away, ranting and raving. Marta turned toward the attic hatch. "Sophia," she called softly. "You can come down now, honey. It's safe." There was a moment of silence, then the sound of small footsteps. Sophia appeared at the opening, her eyes red with tears. Marta helped her down and hugged her fiercely, tears running down her own cheeks. "It's over, my love. She won't hurt you ever again." Sophia clung to Marta, sobbing. "I was so scared, Mama. I thought I would lose you." "Never," Marta promised, kissing Sophia's forehead. "I will always be here to protect you." The next few hours were a blur of police statements, medical examinations, and phone calls. Carmen arrived offering support and helping to navigate the legal aspects of the situation. Finally, in the early hours of the morning, Marta and Sophia were taken back to their own home. It had never seemed so welcoming, so safe. As Marta tucked Sophia into bed, the little girl looked at her, eyes weary but filled with love. "Mama, is it really over?" Marta smiled, stroking Sophia's hair. "Yes, my love. She's gone and won't bother us anymore. But I want you to know something important." Sophia looked at her curiously. "What happened tonight? It was terrifying, and it's normal if you feel scared or have nightmares. I want you to know you can always talk to me about it, and we'll keep working with Dr. Vasquez to help you heal." "Okay," Sophia yawned. "I love you, Mama. Thank you for saving me." "I love you more, my brave little girl," Marta replied, kissing Sophia's forehead. "Now get some rest. I'll be here when you wake up." As Sophia drifted off to sleep, Marta sat in the chair beside the bed, watching over her daughter. The road to recovery would still be long and arduous. There would be good days and bad. Sophia's trauma wouldn't disappear overnight, and the after effects of this night would likely bring new challenges. But as she watched Sophia sleeping peacefully, Marta felt a surge of hope. They had faced the worst together, and they had survived. The bond between them, forged in love and strengthened by adversity, was stronger than ever. Marta took Sophia's small hand in hers, feeling her daughter's steady pulse. In that moment, she made a silent promise. No matter what the future held, they would face every challenge together, with love, patience, and an unwavering determination to heal and grow. Dawn was just beginning to break outside the window, bathing the room in a soft golden light. To Marta, it felt like the beginning of a new chapter in their lives, a chapter filled with hope, healing, and the unwavering love between a mother and her daughter. As the sun rose higher in the sky, Marta closed her eyes, finally allowing herself to rest. The road ahead would be long, but they were together, and that was all that mattered. Epilogue. The following months were a period of intense healing and adjustment for both Marta and Sophia. Sessions with Dr. Vasquez became more frequent, and slowly but surely, Sophia began to process her trauma in a healthier way. The guardians, Sophia's protective part, still emerged occasionally, but they now worked in cooperation with Marta and the therapist. In time, Sophia learned to integrate these different parts of herself, understanding that they had all played a crucial role in her survival. There were setbacks, of course, nights of nightmares, days when Sophia retreated into herself, moments when the memories of the past seemed overwhelming. But with each challenge, the bond between Marta and Sophia grew stronger. A year after the incident at the cabin, Marta and Sophia were sitting in the park, enjoying a sunny day. Sophia, now more confident and outgoing, played with other children, her laughter ringing through the air. Marta watched her, her heart swelling with love and pride. They had come so far, and though she knew there was still a long road ahead, she was grateful for every step of the journey. Sophia ran toward her, cheeks flushed from playing. "Mama, look what I made!" she exclaimed, holding up a colorful drawing. Marta looked at the drawing and felt tears prick her eyes. It was a picture of the two of them, surrounded by a bright rainbow and what appeared to be angels. "It's beautiful, sweetheart," Marta said, hugging Sophia close. "They're the guardians," Sophia explained. "But now they're happy because they know we're safe with you." Marta kissed Sophia's forehead, overcome with emotion. "We always will be, my love. Always." As the sun began to set, Marta and Sophia walked home, hand in hand, facing the future together. The journey had been arduous, but love had triumphed over fear, hope over trauma, and in Marta's heart, a certainty burned brighter than ever. No matter what life threw their way, her mother's love would always be the beacon that guided Sophia toward the light.